Hello, welcome to the first ever Sport at Beaudesert podcast with me, Mr. Griffiths.
And me, Mr. Dill.
Welcome to this inaugural podcast. This will be a weekly podcast, all being well, where we're going to look at different themes in sport. We're going to have different guests, whether it's different staff members or people from outside of the school who we may welcome in. We're trying to get as much activity from parents and pupils, so any requests we can have from you, whether it's topics of conversation or anything you can think we can bring to the podcast, please do let us know by getting in touch. And hopefully we can make this a really beneficial thing for the school. Throughout the podcast, we will be looking at sport at Beaudesert, so the sport that takes place at the school, but also sport beyond the walls of the school and different experiences that we may have experienced in our sporting lives and other people's sporting lives as well. So, this week, Mr. Dill, first of all, how have you been getting on in lockdown? How's everything going?
We've been doing okay. We've been in lockdown a while now. We've been kind of getting through it, entertaining 3 young children. We've been very lucky with the weather, so we've been out in the garden and lots of different games. I've been doing a lot of filming for the resources page, so my children have been involved with that, and every time we go out for a bit of a run around, I seem to get the camera out and film some bits and bobs, which is a bit annoying for them when I tell them to repeat what we're doing a few times. But no, we're doing well. We're having some good times together. We're homeschooling and we're having some fun. So we're doing okay. How about you, Mr. Griffiths?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad at all. Spending a fair bit of time out on the common, making sure that I have plenty of fresh air and exercise. Again, doing lots of filming, trying to make sure there's enough content for our pupils for this term. So it's been a bit of a different teaching experience, but I'm pretty sure the teachers, not just in sport, across all subjects, been trying to make the most of the time they've got to try and get some really good resources and teaching tools online for our children. And that brings us to our theme of today's podcast. Today's podcast is very much an introductory podcast, but we thought it'd be a good opportunity to make the most of explaining about our online platform and the role that sport can play on it. So we've got lots of resources that Mr. Dill and myself and the other game staff have been working hard to get online for the children. And we're going to now sort of just go through and explain exactly what we've got on Firefly. So perhaps, Mr. Dill, if you could...
Yeah, I'll kick off really. Yeah, I think what we've done, what we've tried to do is create a resources package for the children, where we've got a number of different activities. We've got a number of different programs that children can almost select what they wish. You know, a pick and mix of different activities, different sporting activities and programs which can keep them engaged in sport, keep them active, keep them developing athletic ability, but also those vital skills for games and sport. But the things that most importantly is they can do this at home, they can do this in their gardens, they can do this with limited equipment and have lots of fun with it. I mean, we've first off created a P&3 coaching program, which maybe you wanted to talk about first off in terms of what we're offering there.
Yeah, so I suppose in line with other lessons, we're trying to ensure that for every games and PE lesson we have, we still are hitting our core sports, and those this term is athletics, cricket and tennis. So parents and children will start to notice that for their games lessons, they'll be given a 3-minute coaching video or maybe a couple of videos for a session in each of those sports. And it's real simple, 3-minute quick coaching tools video with a lesson plan that children can then go and use, reflect on, and hopefully build upon as they practice over the term and beyond. And likewise, these videos, although they're set as tasks each game session, they will be stored in our PE&3 folder on the resource page. So at any point, children can go back to the videos. Let's say it's the front foot drive, and they can go and look at the basics of that front foot drive and then go back to any future videos that we're doing. So hopefully a really useful resource, not just for the lockdown period, but moving on up the years, children can reflect back to them, and parents as well can help their children out by using these videos.
And I think that's what kind of what we've realised is by doing all this, that it's almost putting in place some really useful resources to use next year and the following years, where we've created something that children can have a look at prior to taking part in a game session, and almost do a little bit of prior research before possibly they take part in a game session on batting and front foot drives or what have you, and they're ready for that session. And these sort of resources will stay there for years to come. And I mean, taking part in it, you know, we've been testing it out with my two boys in the garden. They absolutely love it. You know, I give them the phone and let them watch the 3-minute video of Mr. Griffiths in action on his front foot drives, and it's fantastic. They absolutely love the games and love the activities, and they take on the teaching points, and they've been really engaged with it. So I think it's a really, really useful resource, something we use not just for this summer, but definitely going forward as well.
And likewise, along with each video, we have a very clear lesson plan and some extra video links which children can use. So then we'll link some relevant videos that the children then go and watch. It might be master classes from professional cricketers, or just some coaching videos in a bit more detail. And we've also, it links us on nicely, got some superhero fit sort of exercises that children do. Sometimes we link them with the session that they've had. But could you explain a little bit more about what superhero fit is on these sports resource pages?
Yeah, so what we've done is we've used as part of our kind of program that we're offering is obviously our fitness element. And there's a number of different fitness programs out there. I think children may have seen the Joe Wicks style of kind of PE and fitness, which is great, and many children and parents may be getting involved with that. What we've done is we've created a program based on a fundamental movement program called Superheroes from a company called Strength Lab, and it's a well-recognized program, fantastic program based on fundamental movement skills to develop strength, flexibility, and also encourage movement skills for different sports. And what we've been encouraged to do is put on our Superfit program a matrix of different movements and different exercises that children and parents, the whole family, can follow at home and track their performance. And we've got now weekly workout 1 on there, thanks to Miss Swan. Next week we've got Mrs. Phelps demonstrating weekly workout 2. So it's exercises out there, lots of different exercises that the children, the whole family, can follow. Again, very short videos, very informational videos that the whole family can use. And I think it's a fantastic program to get involved with. But we have linked them to the game sessions as well. There's kind of vital movements that we see in sports.
And one thing I've noticed since joining the school back in September is the number of comments I received from other schools on how well our children move. So is this something you've been doing in PE? So it's not something new. This is something you've got in the PE program already.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've started to do. We started to bring it in, and I think it's something that a number of different schools, especially at senior school level, in prep schools, maybe not as much at the moment. I think we're kind of we're in new territory really when we're starting to think a bit more about how children move and preparing them physically for moving on to senior schools. But if we look at a number of different senior schools and what they're doing, and talking to a number of different schools, including Cheltenham, including Radley, they're talking a lot about what we're doing in our games program and what we're doing in our PE lessons to prepare children physically for the demands of sport, games, and physical activity, really moving forward into later years.
So certainly all the pupils out there and parents see this as a great opportunity to lockdown to go and try some of these movements, real nail down some key sporting movements that's going to benefit you massively in your sport.
Yeah, I think so. And we've also, I mean, what we've tried to do is there's a number of different programs out there, but the Superheroes is engaging. It's relevant. It's very good in terms of what it's offering, but it's tried to put it across in a sort of fun and engaging way. But it's not necessarily all we've got in there for the children in our resource pack in terms of physical development. We've also got a couple of other files, and I'll probably go on and talk about them now.
Yeah, so I suppose if a child is to log on to Firefly, we'd encourage them to go to the PE Sport and Games section. They'll see the sports program, they'll see the sports staff, they'll see the PE in 3 as well as the Superhero Fit. And I noticed we've got some more resources down the line as well. We've got garden gymnastics, we've got Ultimate Skills Master, Family Tag, and a couple of others which obviously you can mention at the end. So if you just whiz through in 1 minute, Mr. Dill, what else we've got for the children on offer, and then we can round it up with a little question to finish.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of this was to create a package where it was, and I go back to it, a bit of a pick and mix, where children can have a look at the resources and think, well, I don't really like the idea of that, but oh, that looks quite interesting for me. I quite like gymnastics, or I quite like the idea of developing my skills, or tag games. It basically, it's something for everyone, and when maybe someone's child is sitting at a workstation doing some lessons and has 15 minutes in their day, they've got an idea of, okay, I can get in the garden, I've got a ball, or I've got a racket, I've got a battle, I don't have anything, but there are some activities that I can do that are engaging and are maybe quite competitive for myself. I can see how I can improve. And that's the thing with all of these. There are downloadable score sheets and progress sheets that children can kind of print out and whilst they're at home or save on their computers, where they can keep track of how they're getting on, but also just to have a go at them. I mean, we've got some garden gymnastics, which is lots of different gymnastics, gymnastics moves for the garden, vaulting, rolling, and also some climbing. We've also got some family tag games. Now, family tag games is really important, I think, because it's something that the children are missing out on, having not been in school. And if we walk out in any break or lunchtime in Beaudesert or any school, really, the main event that we'd see is lots of children playing tag all over our beautiful grounds. And I think that that's something that the children are missing out on. And the family tag games are just lots of little ideas where families can get out in the garden, have a bit of a run around, play some tag, and I'm sure they'll end up smiling and laughing whilst they do it. Now, the Ultimate Skills Master, I'll just finish by mentioning this one, is a chance for children to develop those hand and eye coordination skills, so important for sport, by lots of different challenges, be it with a tennis ball or any sort of ball, a football, a tennis racket. Get out into the garden, have a go at these skills, track your score, and see if you can improve across the number of times, across the weeks or days that you have a go at them. We've also got a couple of other activities in there. We've got a run activity where hopefully parents can let the children link to a downloadable app where they can have a go at tracking a walk, a run, or a bike ride. And we've also got a fantastic resource called World of Sport from Miss Hobbs, which I think this week we've had a football European Championships resource on there, which is great, which is worksheets that children can complete at home. And next week we've got some Wimbledon activities. So I think this time where we're not having these events televised and in the news is a chance for children, maybe if it's a wet weather lesson or if they're inside, to have a go at completing the worksheets and some fun activities.
Brilliant. So I suppose as a department, we're really keen for parents and pupils to get online, have a look at these different resources, pick the ones they want to do. Yes, we want the PE in 3 ones to be the main focus, but in addition to that, we've got all these optional activities that we want you to go and have a go at. Along with that, our final section is our equipment suggestions page, which is just some basic equipment you might want to get as we're at the start of this term, just to help you. Basics, tennis racket, cricket bat, and some basic balls out there as well. And our final section will be, of course, the podcast section, which we look forward to adding once this podcast is complete. It can be found either in the Weekly Buzz, on the Five pages, or indeed via our Twitter or the school website. Next week we will have the joy of welcoming Miss Swan onto the podcast. We're going to look more at the topic of why sport is so important, particularly during this lockdown period, and the benefits it's going to have on all of us, both mental and physical health. And Miss Swan is going to talk a little bit about her journey into teaching and how she's gone from prep school to senior school, in fact, a senior school that some of our pupils are going to next year, Teddy's in Oxford, and her sort of sporting journey and how she's developed from being a prep school sort of sports lady and now into someone who does sport for her career. So plenty to look forward to, Mr. Dill.
Certainly is. And what's been most pleasing, if I just add there, Mr. Griffiths, is this evening I sat down at my laptop and I've just gone through some fantastic videos and pictures of all the children that have been taking part in some of our game sessions and our PE lessons, and it really has brought a smile to my face. It's been fantastic to see. I'm going to try and put some pictures together, almost like a collage of pictures, hopefully that we can get into the buzz for this week. But it's really nice to see all those pictures and videos coming in, and we do encourage them to keep coming, because it is lovely to see all the children in their gardens take part in the events that we've put out there.
Absolutely. And we as a game staff will do our absolute best to reply to anyone who sends in any videos or pictures. We will try our best to respond by giving you any technical advice and feedback. And it's two-way communication. The more you get in touch with us, the more we'll get in touch with you. And that's how we want it to be. Let's maximise and make the best of everything we can this term. And let's get better at everything we do.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Dill.
Thank you, Mr. Griffiths.
And thank you for listening, everyone. And we look forward to you tuning in next week. Please do spread the word. Let lots of people know that the podcast exists, and it's going to help you not only this week with accessing Firefly and the resources there, but also hopefully inspire you in your sporting lives going forward. Take care. All the best. See you next week. Royalty-free music from bensound.com.